Okay, I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Polk County Board of Commissioners. It is January 24th, 9 a.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any comments for items not on this agenda? Going once. I will mention that today is the Polk County Community Connect, which is a county-wide event bringing together service providers and community members who may benefit from those services. And in addition to that, we will be conducting the point in time count, which is the homeless count, a yearly homeless count required by the Homeless Alliance and HUD. To get a better sense of the homelessness issue in Polk County and as a COC. Moving on to approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next up, we have the Community Services Consortium. Kelly, please join us.
And I would like to introduce you guys. This is our principal youth advisor. Do you want to?
Yeah, my name is Evan Scruton-Lathos. I started with CSC actually just over a year ago. I was working in the workforce office there in Dallas or here. And then after about 6 months, I moved over to our youth program in Independence. And I've been there ever since.
Great to meet you. Would you mind repeating your name into the microphone for the record?
Evan Scruton-Lathos.
Appreciate it.
Oh my, sitting down and talking. That's not something that I usually do, sitting down. So I thank you for this opportunity. I just wanted to give you guys an update on what was happening at Community Services Consortium. Craig and I talked a little bit, so I like to kind of address some of the questions that Craig put before us and then let you guys know what we're up to. So our motto is up on the board, our mission statement. We want to engage Polk County youth and young adults by making sure they're engaged in their education and preparing them to enter, advance, and succeed in their chosen career paths. We take kids who have dropped out of school and we get them back on the GED path. That is our mission. Right now, believe it or not, we have 81 youth enrolled in our program. That's a lot. I think that COVID is catching up and we are seeing the result of that. Kids are realizing they're not going to graduate on time and they're looking for other alternatives. And so we provide that. We have 5 enrolled in partner programs, and then although it says 81 youth enrolled, we actually have 7 current applicants in the trial period. And I'm telling you that since January, we have had 7 youth every 2 weeks coming to us and wanting to enroll. And right now we are at capacity. We're working extremely hard and we're going to have to put a hold on our enrollment for a while because we've hired new staff, but we just don't have the physical capacity nor the staffing in order to serve kids like they need to be served. So in Polk County, there is a huge need for GED services right now. We have so far this fiscal year, we've had 9 graduates. We take a van load every Friday over to the GED testing center in Dallas. So we will have a big graduation in June. We just had a graduation in December. We've increased GED time 2 hours, 4 days a week because we just needed more time to meet. We also have individual tutoring time and we added evening time back in for those who are working. We have 3 GED teachers plus me during study time, but they only call me in when they need backup, like the relief pitcher comes in. Besides GED, we have 3 crews now. We did have 2, but we had to increase another crew because there were so many kids who needed that first work experience. So we added an extra crew, which we'll talk about later. And we're putting in the Oregon employability skills into our trainings, our crew trainings, and our evaluation. So I really like the work that Sherry is doing with Oregon Essential Employability Skills, and I think they are very important for all youth, but our youth especially need those skills. And then we always have resume and interview workshops. Go ahead.
So for the benefit of the record, please define WIOA and what the criteria is to enroll under that criteria, under that term.
So WWP, Willamette Workforce
For the record.
Partnership, they are our main funders, and you have to be an out-of-school youth. You have to be dropped out. We did enroll one in-school youth. We can have a certain percentage in school, but the in-school youth, I'm going to put that in air quotes because she's only taking one class at Central. And that is, right now she's doing theater makeup. And so we don't want to make her not do that in order to enroll in our program. So they have to be dropped out of school. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Many of them have not been to school for over a year. So they, for some reason, have just dropped off and have not gotten reconnected into the school. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, well, I want to make certain that people understand what the criteria is for, this is a federal acronym, WIOA,
Right.
Workforce Investment Opportunity Act. And some of the challenge I see with it and what you're defining right now, for me, appears that there are students, young people out there that can drop and realize that this is an alternative. And your numbers are increasing. And it would appear that there is a mindset perhaps that's shifting to this is an alternative. So which is a struggle. And
Right.
you've defined that you're maxed out right now.
Yes.
And I'm guessing that's, well, we don't have this program in any other schools, do we? I mean, we have them just being offered. I mean, it's for the entire county, right?
Right.
Not just for Central School
Right.
District, even though it's being applied in a Central School District facility.
Right. And I'll show you that more.
Okay.
Okay. So here's our breakdown of enrollment. So our 62 active participants as of yesterday, 46 are from Central, 9 are from Dallas, 2 are from Fall City, and 5 are from Willamina and West Salem. Now see where it says 36 dual enrolled. So those kids that have dropped out at Central, we don't, I want to make it very clear, like if kids are already enrolled at Central, we don't say, come over to our GED program, drop what you're doing there. No, they have already dropped out. And so we enroll them. Then we ask Central, hey, we would like to dual enroll them. And a dual enrollment does, there's certain benefits for the kids. Number one, if they're on an IEP, we can dual enroll them and we can get help with their IEP. We can get some testing provided. We can get some extra tutoring. If there's something that we don't know, we can get some extra help for them.
Do you know the percentage of enrollees that are on IEPs? If you don't
Um,
have that offhand.
I
no
don't
worries.
have the percentage. I can give you a number.
Okay,
There's 10
Okay.
right now. And that's not counting the kids who are on 504s. I'm not
So
gonna
what kids,
say that one more time.
explain to us what kids 504s are.
A 504 is like for someone who needs extra help. Maybe it's the mental or emotional side. Maybe it's some physical handicaps that don't require the depth of an individual education program, but they just need a little bit of something different in their approach. There are kids who are on 504s, but 504s can range from anything from like a physical handicap to a kid that can't have fake blueberries in their food. So it's quite a wide range. Like a 504 is like a blanket that covers everything else that an IEP doesn't cover. So, and those kids can then go back to Central and they can participate in sports and the school activities. I want them to go back and get their high school diploma. That would be our first choice for them. So if we can get them dual enrolled and encourage them to go back and re-engage in school, great. But if they can't, then here's the GED for them. I know a lot of our kids, I heard childcare, a lot of our kids are doing childcare at home. I'm going to say they have been kept out of school to provide childcare for the younger ones. So, and we're getting some from West Salem and Dallas. The ones that we get are the ones that have dropped out of the GED program here. So besides the 62, we have 19 which are in follow-up. And follow-up means after they obtain their GED, we follow them for a year to make sure that they are engaged. So right now, the blue, I'm sorry, it's a little tricky. The blue is that they are currently employed. So out of those 19, 56% are currently employed. 1 is in college, and then 37%, the rest are other. Some are accessing some social services, some are just, they've fallen off the plate. We don't know exactly where they are, but you know, most of them are working, so that's good. This is just a picture of one of our most recent GED grads. And if you notice, that's not at the school. So if kids cannot come on to the school district campus for whatever reason, we'll go to them. This is our graduation. There's kids on here that haven't been engaged in education since 5th grade. And so besides getting them their GED, we also have to get them, I guess I would say, back re-socialized into what it means to participate in society in a positive way. And that's a lot of the work that we do. So out of that group, 1 is in Job Corps, and these aren't all our graduates, and 3 are working, and then we're getting ready to enroll a couple in community college with the Oregon Promise, so this spring. So our June graduates, blue again, means they're working. In June, 5 are working, 1 is enrolled in school, and 1 we don't know, will not answer or respond. For our December graduates, 6 are working, 1 we're trying, we're working on getting that one enrolled in school. And then since our December graduation, we've had 2 more graduate, and they are currently working. So we're trying to keep them employed and working wherever that is. That is difficult. So the 62 active participants that we have, the GED completed 23%. GED only, we only have 20% of our kids who only come for GED services. Those are the kids who are needed for childcare. So those are the kids who come in and they have to go home after GED to provide childcare. And then, oh, did you have a question?
I do, but I'll wait.
Okay, and then this one is GED and our WEX crews. So, and then this is GED and outside employment. So we try to keep them on site for as long as we can, and only let those 20% out. You know, we try and get them working. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just curious. You mentioned a lot of these youth are providing childcare for younger ones at home. I'm just curious. Question keeps ringing in my ear. What are some of the socioeconomic trends of youth in this program? Are there, or is it kind of diverse across those measures?
Part of being eligible for this program, this WIO program, is that the majority of our kids are on SNAP.
Okay.
So lower socioeconomic, a certain percentage 25% of our enrollment, they can not be eligible for SNAP as long as they're out of school youth. So, but most of our kiddos are hurting. So. So these are our 3 work experience crews. You guys know Garden, you know Makerspace. But Evan has started a new crew that I would like him to talk about.
So our crew that we started, I think just, last week, is an OIC crew, so Oregon Youth Conservation, formerly Oregon Youth Conservation Corps, now just Oregon Youth Corps. And essentially the parameters for what kind of work is allowable in that program is anything that will like benefit the community. So that conservation core history of it, it really does emphasize a lot of like habitat restoration, wildland cleanup, thing like that, invasive species management, those sorts of things. But it also leaves the opportunity for things like I mentioned we could start a literacy program, like partner with one of the elementary schools, something like that. So it really is very broad. That's how I summarize it to them. If it improves the community, that could be your neighborhood, it could be the city, it could be the county. It's really a fair game. It's in play for what we're doing. So we've got a good amount of funding for materials for that, but also for wages. So those people are making $14.50 an hour for the work they do with us. And like Kelly said, we're really emphasizing those Oregon employability skills as like our first and foremost priority. But then also teaching them good job habits, so emphasizing being on time, but also tool safety. So last week I showed for young participants how to use a circular saw safely, and how to be safe on a job site when other people are using tools and things like that. So we really focused on transferable skills. Not everyone's going to go into construction or anything like that, but can we teach them to behave responsibly on a work site, and then they'll know those habits no matter where they end up moving forward. So this one also I'm really excited about because we're sort of letting the participants sort of determine the projects that they want to do. So like I said, there's so much that is available for us to choose from. I wanted them to go through the process of identifying a project, designing the plan for it, going through the process if we need approval from the city or from the county, see all that behind the scenes work that our crew leaders normally do, and actually give them the office skills, how to write professional correspondence, how to present yourself professionally so that you will get that approval and all that kind of stuff. So
We want to change their mindset so that they know that they have the power, that they can affect change in their community, and how to do it in the appropriate way. So that's what this, let us show you how to do it. So we're starting with something easy, handicap accessible picnic tables, showing them how to use hand tools, which is good for them. You know, I like to see kids on the bad end of a shovel or anything like that. So it's good. Anything else you want to add on that one?
Oh, I guess since you mentioned the hand tool stuff, we also had some folks. So we have our crews that are sort of, you sign up for a crew and that's the crew you're on long term. But we also have our what we're calling crew clubs. So is that coming later?
Yeah, that's coming
Okay,
up here.
never
now.
mind, I'll
That's
wait.
okay. So,
So let me ask you this question.
Okay.
So you have work experience crews, and you just touched on it very briefly right there at the end. But you have assignments. And again, not everybody gets to choose everything they want when they're getting paid to work.
Right.
So, for example, the transferable skills word that you used is something that's an essential skill. And we all as employers understand that. And so if you have folks that say, I'll show up when I show up in your work crew. So is there a discipline process, or is it strictly free choice?
I don't like the phrase discipline process, but no, I mean, that would definitely be something we'd address. That's something we talked about on the first day was here are the agreements for being part of this crew. And I told them, look, the reason you're here is because you're not ready to do all the things the job would expect of you. 90% of the time, we're gonna essentially role play. We're gonna treat it like a real job. And then whenever I need to step in and teach something, that's how we'll handle it. But some of the agreements were be on time when you be where you say you will be when you say you'll be there. Your word is good. So if you tell me you're going to do something, I should be able to trust that you'll do it. I don't need to monitor that. Another one of the group agreements was that you're being diligent about your GED. So no skipping GED in the morning and then coming to work in the afternoon. And that is when I've had to have a discussion with someone about or disciplinary procedure.
Because there's a monetary reward showing up in the afternoon.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, but it's contingent
beings.
on.
Being at GED.
Mhm. But we know they're not going to be successful in a career long-term if they don't get their education aspect taken care of. And we've explained that. That's why it's contingent on working on your GED. We're not doing you any service by just paying you minimum wage or a little above minimum wage for 6 hours a week if you're not making progress towards long-term success. Yeah.
So help me understand I don't mean to badger on this,
No, this is good.
but again, employers have, just a very finite amount of patience with some of these transferable skills. And so the issue is that when they get to the end of the program, because I'm not hearing you say, yeah, they got to go back to if they do this behavior too many times, they go back to the beginning. I haven't heard that. But what is the process? Do they get to the end of a work experience program and graduate with that, and irrespective of whatever challenges they may have had during that process? Because I'm confident you have a number of them
Yeah.
have challenges. So
Sure.
how do you assure when they get to the end, and any employer that looks at the credentialing here, that they've been through this program, that they've learned and have figured out how to fix their transferable skills?
Do you want me to take it?
Yeah, go for it.
So the Oregon employability skills, like if they score a certain number on that, we have a rubric. And so every 2 weeks they get evaluated on their Oregon employability skills. If I see, like when I go through their timesheets and I look and see they're scoring low on certain areas like attendance or punctuality or whatever, then I bring them in and we set up a little plan for them, and it's kind of like a work plan, right? And if they don't follow through on their work plan, then I get to fire them. So, and then they have to reapply for the crew. So it is that we do hold them accountable. At the end of their work experience, I'm going to be honest with you, we'll do the best that we can to make sure that they get all the Oregon employability skills. I'm never going to place someone out into a job or give them a recommendation to go out into the real world to get a job until I feel like they're ready. So I'm very blunt with them about their work skills and have high expectations about that. And if they are not, then they go on a work plan and then they're fired. So that's part of the icky part of my job, but it's also like, it feels not good at the time, but it's a hard lesson for them. And I'd rather them learn it in a safe place than go out into the real world and then they can't recover. Right. So this is like their safety net of that.
We do also once you're on a crew, you're not just on, we have them reapply every 3 months or so to go through practicing how to fill out a job application, how to interview. And at that time, they're putting references on their application. And a lot of times they'll use the crew leader, and it's a good opportunity to say, hey, do you really think they're going to give you a good recommendation based on how you've been working on their crew so far? So it's coming outside from us, but it's also getting them to be reflective. Hey, am I actually doing what I need to do here to get a good recommendation when it's time to leave?
Is there a limit to the WEX program? How many times can they reapply?
So there are mostly just internal program limits in terms of budgeting. We can't keep someone in our role forever because we need to use those funds for other folks who haven't had that opportunity yet. But
200 hours is what they get. So it goes more quickly in the summer than it does in the winter because we try to give them more hours in the summer so they can make some money, right? And so they have it throughout the year. These are all our partnerships. We've been working really hard to keep those active. So if you have any questions about those, I am, one of my goals was to make sure we did more partnering with Polk County. So we have been working on that. So, and we can talk about that more if you want. Here's our secret sauce. Like, these are the extra things besides GED and work experience. We take the kids on college tours. We, as they're getting to the end of their GED and they're interested in college, then we'll say, where do you want to go and tour? So we just toured LB's automotive program, and then we toured Chemeketa so that they could kind of compare which would be the best fit. We've done 9 industry tours. We'll go out and tour any place that will have us for a tour. And then we have had 22 work crews. So that's a lot. Kids like to earn the money. And there we are on the shovels again. That's an industry tour. This is Makerspace for one of our work crews. They're doing t-shirts for the school district. And these are our college tours that we've done. So we take them everywhere and anywhere. By the time they exit CSC Polk, we want them to have their permitter ID, first aid, CPR, Serve Safe, which is one above food handlers, Hospitality Gold, which is an Oregon tourism program. We also make sure that they have a resume and that they have some resume writing skills, interview skills, Oregon employability skills, and rethinking. Most of our kids, rethinking, I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's shifting your mindset. It is sponsored by WWP, and it's asking you to identify your risky thinking and then see if you can switch that. So
It used to be called Rethinking Careers, but apparently you all have dropped the careers part.
it's been rebranded. It's not rethinking career, just rethinking. I don't know. These are the crew clubs. So we needed to add some more crew time on, and we wanted to give the kids more work experience. So we added some Monday afternoon crew clubs. And I'll talk about mine. Mine is a DMV permit test prep, very boring. But there are some things in life that you just have to memorize, right? You just have to know, and it's the grunt work. And so that's mine, nothing flashy, nothing too fun about it, but we just kind of grunt through. So they actually have to sit down and study for their permit test. And then we will take them over and to the DMV and pay for their permit test. And if they get their permit, we'll pay for that.
We'll say that my wife and I took that test when we first moved here.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
No.
I aced it. She almost failed it. She has a PhD. So, you know,
There's
for the record.
There's some tricky things. So, I don't know if you should throw your wife under the bus.
It's just a point of pride I have in my house.
Yeah. And so culinary and apothecary, everything, we got some funds donated from the Paris, and we bought dehydrators and some food preservation equipment. So everything they grew in the garden, we froze it, dried it, canned it. They made pickles, tomatoes. So they're learning how to cook for themselves. They're learning how to grow their own food, preserve it. And then now this winter, they're using that to cook. So, and then Josh is helping them with Inkscape, designing their own t-shirt. Where I just saw, we had an art display at the Independence Museum, and Natasha was saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could sell some of the things that are in the museum, like replicas in the gift shop? So our kiddos are doing Hops Fiesta t-shirts, which are in the Independence Museum, and then a few other things for that. So they're working on learning how to design those. Do you want to talk about staked furniture?
Yeah, so the crew club that I'm running, so like I was saying earlier, so the crew you join is kind of long-term. You're not totally locked in, but it's typically you're with them for a while. The crew clubs rotate every 6 weeks. So we choose, so those kids that are designing their t-shirt, after 6 weeks, there'll be a new thing going on in the makerspace. And it doesn't matter if you're not in the makerspace crew, you can join that one. So it gives folks who usually avoid the tech stuff a chance to try it, you know, dip their toes in or whatever, and vice versa. So the one that I've been offering is different woodworking classes, so focusing on traditional hand tools and construction methods. So right now I've got 2 folks that are building staked chairs. So it's very traditional vernacular furniture style. Like I said, we're using tools that are 100 and 150 years old to make them. No power tools allowed while I'm around. So, and they're having a lot of fun with it. If you've ever used a hand plane, you know, it's a lot of fun the way that shaving flies up when you first get a hang of it. And these kids who are on their phones all the time respond the same way. It's that first sort of like real interaction with something physical that they're making with their hands a lot of times. I showed someone how to use a handsaw yesterday who'd never used a handsaw before. So it's been a lot of fun for me. And we did have a couple folks put stuff on display in the Independence Heritage Museum, and it sold out the first night. So I think that was another big eye opener for them, that sort of the same with our youth advocacy crew, getting them to see the potential that they have that they never realized.
And community acknowledgement that their work is valued.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes, I was gonna go back and buy it because I'm like, I don't want any kids' feelings, you know, to be hurt. Like they really took a risk and I wanted to reward that risk. And I'm like, it's all sold. There's nothing left, you know, because they did such a good job. So the community recognized that. So it was a good win for them. Let's see. It's not scrolling.
Frozen.
Wow.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. We got a beehive. So and OSU did a bee education, you know, how to do all that. And then we also partner with our Lynn County Youth House. So our beehive is in Inspiration Gardens, and the kids have to go down there and work once a week and help those people out, and then they get to keep their beehive there. So, you know, the volunteers who run Inspiration Gardens, they need kids to be on the bad end of a shovel and a saw, you know, trimming and all that. So it's a good partnership. We partner with the City of Independence in the summer, 1 day a week. They have to go out and do the work that, you know, the City of Independence doesn't have workers to do. So here, excuse me, here they are weeding and pulling the weeds out of the middle of the sidewalk. They hated it. It was 100 degrees, but good for them. Thank you. Get me some water. Thank you. The City of Independence agreed to put upright water spigots, and in return, our kids had to dig all the trenches. Here's cooking banana bread or zucchini bread. I'm not sure. It must have been zucchini bread because it was something out of their garden. Bees. The Sheriff's Department so kindly helped our kids fly their drones, and the Sheriff Department came and asked them, told them what they use drones for at work. Thank you so much. Got a frog in my throat. And so here they are in front of the courthouse flying their drones. We had one student get their FAA license, which they can fly drones commercially this summer. So that was kind of a fun thing. This is a student who, this is at the Independence Museum. She designed this on, or they designed this on the computer, and they just went to OSU and toured, and they want to enter OSU and do, what is that?
Character design program.
At OSU. So they're getting ready to enter OSU and go into the character design, but they would have never thought they were capable of doing that. This is a youth that whose family no experience in college, no background in going to college, and There's more, but I can't say because I don't want to say it on public record, but I'm very excited about where this youth is heading. There's our museum installation, the hand tools that sold out. There's Jacob working on his hand tools. We also have a partnership with Salem Health, West Valley Hospital. They've been coming every Tuesday at the gate. So Ben and I and Jennifer put this together, and our kids go down, and this is with the very first one. This was with the anesthesiologist team. So every Tuesday, the kids get some career information about from West Valley Hospital. This is again on the bad end of shovel, volunteering at a local animal sanctuary. They floated the river this summer from Independence to West Salem and picked up garbage and trash for their Solve Day. Look how dirty they are. The drone team this summer, while the kids were floating, they recorded them. They took pictures. They flew over the top and took pictures. I like that because then I could see what they were doing, because that's kind of scary. But we did have a guide in the boat. The kids did not row. And then this is them at the OSU ropes course, taking challenges, pushing them outside their comfort zone, which is what we do. All right. Do you guys have any questions for us? Lay it on us.
I have a few, but please start us off.
So 3 questions. I'm curious about the dual enrollment dollars and dropout dollars. And so do the dollars for these students follow these students?
You mean ADM dollars from the school district? Well, we're working on that with the school district. As of right now, no.
So under dual enrollment, all of the money goes to the school district.
As of at this moment, the contract has not been signed. We're trying to capture some of that. It's only fair. We're providing the service. We would like to capture some of that money. So we're working on that.
And then dropouts, there's no dollars associated, no ADM associated with them.
I don't think so. I don't know. What do you mean? Explain that further.
Does the school district still get to count them and collect?
As completers, is that what you're talking about? They still get to count them. So we are doing them a good service. So every time a kid completes their GED, whether it's through Dallas or Falls City or Central, all the GED transcript, I will send that to the registrar so they can count them as a completer.
But
But you're not collecting ADM dollars for that work.
no, if they're not enrolled, there's no ADM. And so only when if they're still in school or if they get dual enrolled, there's ADM dollars for that student. Then if they're a dropout and don't get re-enrolled, there's no ADM.
Sounds like one more piece of language that needs to go into legislation to fix it for alternative education.
Yes, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, but I can't wait on them
I know.
to do it, right? I mean,
Right.
somebody else has to do it. And then the other thing is touch on your business, industry and education
Oh, I
partnership.
forgot to do that.
I'm helping
Sorry.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Every 3 months, we have business, industry, and education. I did include that in the slideshow, but yesterday getting it here. It has been very successful. Sherry presented yesterday on Oregon employability skills, Sherry Clark from the WESD, and talking about making that free for everybody and all kids through the state of Oregon. And the badge should be available. So we'll be able to make sure that kids earn that badge. And there's a whole system to earning that badge that Sherry has outlined. So we will be implementing that as well as soon as that's ready to go. I think she said February. But business, industry, and education is the only place that I know of that consistently businesses and educators can come sit down at the table and communicate about what's happening in schools and what industry needs. Like, here's what we need. Schools, what are you doing? Schools, here's what we're doing. Is this meeting the needs of your workers? It's very important. And I hope that it continues to move forward. Our next one is April, and in April, we'll get an update from the schools about what their CTE programs are doing. And then business will get a chance to say, they'll get a chance to reflect and say their 2 cents about what's happening. So yeah, it's been great.
Can you tell us how many business partners you have through CSC for Polk County?
That CSC has business partners. Like, what do you mean business
Well,
partners?
business partners that you invite to come to these
Oh, we
and
invite.
to sit on the panel for interaction. So again, this is supposed to be a two-way communication. And you're supposed to be getting feedback from the business community. Right? On how are the programs working?
Right.
What are they seeing?
We have invited, I included Annie Owen, although she's not a business, but we have invited the car doctor, Rick Young, to be part of our BIE. Rick is super busy. He said that he cannot keep people hired. And so he's running into the same issues as everybody else. So we've invited Rick to join BIE. So hopefully that he'll take us up on that offer.
But back to the question, do you know how many members of your BIE or Polk County you actually have showing up at any time representing the business voice?
You mean at the BIE meetings or at our, okay. Yesterday we only had about 15, but we always invite Marquee, Forest River, all the big ones to come. And Annie and I went to tour Forest River and reach out, and we wanted to see for ourselves kind of how we could help him, what kind of people that he needs. So yeah, so we always invite, I think there's 50 some odd people on our invite list. So Miduri Farms, of businesses that are invited. So getting people, I'm working to make it so that the small to medium-sized businesses consider it a valuable use of their time to give up 2 hours every 3 months on a Monday morning. So I want them to feel like they're getting something out of it. They can walk away with something useful. So it's valuable to them.
Yeah.
So you have kind of an on-the-job training jointly with some of these businesses locally. So once they go through your work crews and they show they can be responsible, and do you have those things where you can kind of joint enroll or joint employment?
We don't have any active internships right now. We place kids right in jobs. We don't have any on-the-job trainings right now. Chemeketa, I'd like to get kids into the pre-apprenticeship with Chemeketa this summer, but I don't have any on-the-job trainings because the kids that we have placed in the jobs are ready to work. So
So what's the average time, say a 19-year-old comes back to you to get his GED? What's the average time when they're actually within your program before they graduate? And a rough idea?
It varies quite a bit. I mean, the average would be between like a month and what's our high end?
2 years?
2 years, yeah. So, and we did have someone come last November
Mhm.
who was done by, our graduation was December 16th. And he's working right now, I think full time here in Dallas at Walmart. But then we have others who, like Kelly said, some of our folks haven't been in school since elementary school. So it's a longer road with them. It just, yeah.
And
I could
that's
try to give you an average, but it's such a wide range, so.
individual basis.
It is. We have a kid right now who has really never been to school. And so it's taking him a little longer because his holds to fill. You know, we've got to backfill a lot before we can even get him ready to pass his GED. So it really does depend.
And last, I just got a comment. I just want to commend you on teaching the soft skills. So many people are focused on teaching the skills to go get a job, but they don't teach them how to get the job. being interviewed and writing resumes and how to communicate in a respectful manner is just as important as learning the skill itself, if not more so. You got to get the job and show what you have.
That's right.
So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. The handshake, they don't know how to shake hands. And that's kind of a standard thing, right? Web to web, they don't know that.
Look people in the eye or just smile, or even simply, how do you dress?
Right.
Right down to the simplest things. A lot of these kids don't have it. They would rather do it on their phone. Put that phone down by text. To set that phone down for a 20-minute interview is very hard for a lot of today's kids. That's how they communicate. It sounds ridiculous, but when you're sitting in an interview, and it's happened to me several times, he's looking at his phone, talking to me, and he's texting, I said, just, can you turn that phone off just for a moment? I mean, they got to think about it. It's unbelievable that those skills. So I commend you very highly on that. Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent presentation. Thank you for
Thank you.
being here. And I'm just so encouraged by the work you're putting in to set these kids up for success as best you can. I should say youth. We're not supposed to use kids anymore. I don't know.
We go up to 26. so-
Yeah.
Youth is the word I'm supposed to use.
Yeah.
What really helps kind of break the cycle of generational poverty,
It does.
which delays further costs down the line if we don't catch these youth early on. So I really appreciate all your work to that end. I have a more specific question on the GED program.
Go ahead.
So obviously you have some youth who have been out of the school system for a while.
Yeah.
How do you administratively keep contact with them to get them back in? How are they entering into the program?
How do
From
they
there?
find out about us?
How do they find out about us? And then also from the preventative side, when there are signs that they're not completing coursework, the attendance is low, how are you sort of on both ends of those extremes? How are you capturing those youth?
It's really word of mouth. We're just getting out. That CSC is a good place to be. And I don't know, our own success is kind of coming to catch up to us now because we're overwhelmed. But I don't want to make CSC so attractive that they're abandoning their school, right? So
Right.
it's this balancing act, but really it's word of mouth.
Okay.
We have worked really hard to create a good program, and you guys know your reputation walks before you. So that's really how we find out. We're going to Community Connect today and just talk about things. So I make presentations to the book club, whoever will have me, I'll go and talk about the services that we provide. And then the kids who are kind of falling off, the first thing that we do is we try and reach out through text. They love their phones, right? Or we'll call, just try to get them to come in one day a week. We have kids who come in right now one day a week because they're working full time, and we just try to keep up with them through texting is the best way. Some of our kiddos, like the ones that have dropped off, we make them sign a contract that says they will keep in contact with us for a year after they graduate so that we know what they're doing, and that's part of our responsibility. So we meet with kids wherever and whenever they can. So we go to their house. We had a kid show up who had been homeless, living under the bridge in Independence while he was in our program. And he just showed up out of the blue the other day because he knew we were a safe place for him to land, clear from Florence. He somehow made it here from Florence, where he's living now. So
Was he
tried to hook him up with
Was he
services.
unaccompanied, or was he with a guardian, or was he unaccompanied?
He is
curious.
20.
He's 21.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we tried to hook him up with some services, but we had him all lined up for a job here, interviewing, resume, the whole thing. And then he had to move from underneath the bridge in Independence and didn't really have a place to go. And so we're excited to see him walk in the door. So we always our door is always open. There's always like somebody there to help them. So
I appreciate you bringing that up. It's a really sad case, but it is a systemic
Yep.
problem.
Yep.
Even in rural Polk County, we have over 200 kids in McKinney-Vento right now who are
Yep.
considered homeless. I'm not sure if you heard, but Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action was awarded a YHDP grant, a Youth
Yep.
Homeless Demonstration Project grant from the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance, HUD, to stand up a youth transitional housing shelter of sorts, that will serve youth 14 to 18.
Hmm.
And then the hope is to have, some more traditional affordable rental houses or apartments immediately next door to that project, so that they can transition into adulthood. So I imagine, hopefully there'll probably be some crossover with clients that you'll be serving with under that program.
So we're in close contact with Marianne Bradshaw,
Great.
and one of our youth is on the backbone
Oh, yeah.
team. And then I'm helping Marianne do the pick count tomorrow at the gate.
Well, that's
Right.
great.
So, yeah, we have youth that are living in sheds.
Yeah.
You know, no running water, no toilet facilities, for a variety of reasons. So, yeah, it is important. So I will tell you that CSE picks up the most needy kids, like the kids who really, really do need a safe space to land. We have food that they can take home. Ella Coran gives us food boxes. Kids can, they take food home every day if they need to. So, and now that they know how to cook it a little bit, that will help. So not eating just packaged junk. So, and anything that they grow in the garden and preserve, they can take home.
That's great. And like I mentioned before, this might provide a bit of hope that a life of self-sufficiency and fulfillment is possible.
Yes.
Through employment and skills and feelings of self-worth.
Yeah. In fact, we just got one hired on as a custodian at Central. So that's good. And before, they really didn't have any hope for a future. So I'll leave you guys with a couple things. This is our handout that we give to our kids. So it has all the information that we talked about today. And then this is our calendar for February and March. So you can kind of see what it is that we do on a daily basis, because sometimes I do a lot of talking, and I hope you guys get right to the point. So I'll leave those with Nicole, share with you guys. And do you guys have any other questions for us? This feels so much better. I can actually think when I'm, after teaching for 32 years, you never sit down and talk. You're always on your feet.
You can always carry that around. It's wireless. Might be a little bit of Bob Barker.
So, well, thanks, you guys. I appreciate all your hard work and support. And if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out to me, or my number, my contact information is on the front of that flyer. So we appreciate you guys.
Thanks for visiting us.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you for the water.
Are there any non-listed items we need to cover? Hearing none, we'll adjourn at 9:52. Thank you.